know what? One sec.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 9 edition of Man's Maker. I am joined right now by a truly prestigious guest. This is a man's who joins us from the land of maple syrups. This is a man's who is the king of the DFS YouTube streets, along with yours truly. This is a man's who shares his name with a controversial condiment. Patty Mayo, welcome to the program, my dude.
The worst condiment going.
Hey, we can agree on that. Although, you know, I have been over to Europe and I have dabbled with a little French fries and mayo. And I got to say, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It's a thing here, too. It's not good. I don't like it.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that your own namesake condiment is the Mark Ingram of condiments is what you're saying.
Basically, I need to get a copyright on this and then I can just sue them.
That's right. Dude, what's going on with these shades, dude? You're looking very Manz-esque right now.
I thought I had to up my game if I'm going to come on.
That's right, dude. Is that, are you on the Puma payroll? Is that what's going on there?
I stole them from Ricky Fowler.
There you go. Well, Pat, this was long overdue. I'm super stoked to have you on the program. How's your season going, my man?
Wow, if anyone follows me, they know. It's going horrible.
And so today is where we turn things around. Am I right?
Yeah, we're halfway through, so I need to have a huge second half in order to compensate for the bad first half.
That's right. And look, I know on the PMA experience, you bring on a lot of quote-unquote sharp dudes, but they're clearly not getting it done for you. You're not soaking up any of their wisdom, but now you're talking to a true tout, a true sharp, and by pure osmosis, you are going to win $1 million this weekend.
Can I hold you to that?
You can.
I need that money to break even.
That's right, dude. And look, I saw the other day you are closing in on 10 million audio downloads on your podcast.
Yeah, almost 10 million. We got to get there, though. We're not on pace to get there. I need more listeners, more downloaders.
Well, Pat, what you're getting today is a little thing in the biz we call the Man's Bump. So 10 million.
I'm in. I need it.
Okay. Excellent, guys. All right, let's get right down into this Week 9 slate. Pat, you have already done 19 podcasts this week. What are your general impressions, 10,000-foot overview? How are you feeling about this Week 9?
Well, after looking at Twitter, it turns out that Todd Gurley is actually not good. I heard that this week. I heard that Courtland Sutton is the greatest receiver of all time. So I guess you got to not play Gurley and play all Courtland Sutton. That's a path to $1 million, right?
That's right, dude. I saw your tweet. You had what seemed like a very trade deadline themed start to a lineup that had Sutton, Jones, Golladay. How chalky do you think those three guys are going to be?
Oh, super chalky. I mean, I guess people will choose between Golladay and Jones. I'm guessing it's going to be Jones because he's coming off 2 touchdowns and Golladay hasn't done anything the past 2 weeks. But we'll see. Maybe somehow people will play 2 Lions receivers and not play Matt Stafford along with them. That'll be their idea.
Is there any concerns about Jones with Xavier Rhodes? I know he torched him on Thanksgiving last year, but Rhodes has been decent. What do you think about that situation?
Yeah, Rhodes is banged up right now. Jones already has the mental edge because he's already done it on the field. So I'm not too worried about it. And the price isn't all that bad. So he doesn't need to do he doesn't need to score 2 touchdowns. It'd be nice. But I mean, I'd rather go that chalk route than like Courtland Sutton. The move really is, if everyone's going to use Courtland Sutton, just use Emmanuel Sanders. He's better. That's
right. Yeah, no, I like it. I've also heard a little Tim Patrick talk heating up this week. How do you think about that deep dart?
But if you got Deshaun Hamilton suiting up too, then yeah, I mean, no. I don't like to play these 0% guys that even if they score a touchdown, they still might not pay off their price.
That's what we do on this show, though, Pat. We dig so deep, and you've said it yourself. You're in a hole right now. Tim Patrick could be your gateway to the Millie Maker promised land.
I feel like Tim Patrick is like me digging up. Like I don't know if that's going to do me any good.
Okay. All right, but it sounds like you're not one to eat that Courtland Sutton chalk.
If it wasn't going to be super outrageous, I'd be all in on it because I think it does make a lot of sense. But if you're dealing with Courtland Sutton, even at that price, I mean, what are we going to see, like 25% ownership in the Millionaire Maker? I mean, what are the odds he doesn't have an awesome game? Like 70%? Then, yeah.
My thought, I agree with that completely. My thought though is if you find yourself wanting to use him, a very creative way to do it would be with Emmanuel Sanders, and bear with me here, with Case Keenum's. And then you get your exposure to him, but with a super unique stack. How off my rocker am I?
I like it. I mean, if you're gonna go, you might as well push all in on it. You don't win by not going all in.
That's right. And you can also run it back with DeAndre Hopkins. I think this is an interesting week for him. Everyone's wanting to jam in the high-priced running backs. It feels like guys like Thielen and Nuke and some of these other high-priced receivers not in that New Orleans Rams game might go under-owned.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Julio's another one's going to go under-owned. People don't know what to make of Mike Evans. Mike Evans is the second highest shootout game of the week, but no one wants to use him. Like, everyone wants to use Fitzpatrick, or everyone wants to use Fitzpatrick, but use Courtland Sutton. Just load up on Deshaun Jackson and Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, that stack's not expensive. Yeah,
that's so cheap. I mean, what? Fitzpatrick's 5,500, I believe, on DraftKings this week.
Yeah, Deshaun's 5,000. OJ Howard's even less than that. Just triple stack those guys.
Yeah, I like that too, because it does seem like the Carolina side of that game is going to end up being super trendy. Everyone wants Cam. Everyone likes C-Mac. Everyone wants to chase DJ Moore. I kind of like that stack you talked about. Maybe bring it back with Funchess or Olsen, get kind of a unique exposure to that game.
Yeah, I like Funchess a lot. I mean, everyone's going to be – I mean, what's going to be the chalk this week? Everyone's using Cam. Everyone's using Sutton. Everyone's using Marvin Jones. Everyone's using Bears D. So you don't need to use all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. The Bears D thing is interesting. They are, a little pricey as far as other potential defenses. You got to pay $4,100 for them, but obviously in a smash spot. One guy I've been thinking about lately is Jordan Howard, and he's very scary because he doesn't catch passes, and we've seen him get completely phased out of the game plan. But on the other hand, we've seen these running backs, Marlon Mack, I believe it was Lamar Miller, these kind of quote-unquote middling talents absolutely smash against the Bears. Can we go to the Jordan Howard well?
I never go to the Jordan Howard well. So you can if you want to. Not for me. There's other guys down. I'd rather go to the Isaiah Crowell hole than go to the Jordan Howard hole.
Ooh, that's 30. That's 30. We might have to have a little prop on Crowell versus Howard straight up.
I can go in on that.
Okay. Who are you with? I do feel like there's a lot of interesting punt plays at wide receiver, and specifically in this super danky dank 4,200 range. I mean, you have lots of interesting guys. You got Parker, you got DJ Moore down there. Stills is coming back. Curse. Are you going after any of these punt play wide receivers if you are fading Sutton?
I'm going after Devontae Parker big time. I don't know if Kenny Stills is going to be back or not. It's not certain at this point. So if Stills sits, that's a way better play than Courtland Sutton right now. And even someone like Godwin who's down there. I know that Fitzpatrick has the rapport with Deshaun Jackson. But, you want to get exposure to this game, this high-scoring game, then take Chris Godwin. He's super cheap.
From a big picture perspective, what is your thoughts on Devontae Parker? I mean, he looked like an AJ Green clone coming into the league, top 13 pick, looked the part. It's never come together. They were basically forced to play him last Thursday night, and he explodes. What do we make of him?
I just think that people don't like him. Adam Gase hates his guts. That's how I would throw it out there. But if they're still in a situation where they got no one, then they got no one. If you want someone even cheaper, you don't want him, just take Jakeem Grant. Or if you want the cheap piece of that Rams game, take Traquan Smith. All those guys are super cheap. And they're going to come in with 1/10 to 1/20th of the ownership at Courtland Sutton. Or even DJ Moore, who everyone's talking up. I like DJ Moore, but what are the chances really that he has an awesome game again? 20%?
Yeah, no, I agree. I really hope that the Sutton love and the DJ Moore love, suppresses Traquan Smith's ownership a little bit, because he is in such a spot there. I mean, I believe it was Levitan's in his article this week, noted that Meredith hasn't seen a target since week 5. I mean, it's Kamara, Michael Thomas, and then Traquan Smith in that passing game. What am I missing?
I don't know. Austin Carr's getting more snaps right now than Cam Meredith is. So yeah, it's Traquan. Unless they start throwing to their tight ends or bring in Taysom Hill just to run every third down, then you're going to be fine. If they need to pass in this game, he's going to be used.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this was always the type of spot, the dome game, high scoring, where Ted Ginn would pop off. This was always the Ted Ginn game. Ted Ginn isn't there anymore. Cameron, I can't even say these guys' names. Traquan Smith is a nice play, is what I'm trying to say, Patty Mayos.
I'm in 100% in with Traquan.
Excellent. Excellent. We got Jason Antilles in the chat. He says, if Mark Ingram was 3K, would Pat have at least 1% of him in the millie if no one would ever know? No, just no.
I'm not going to lie to the people. No.
Okay. All right. You're a man of principle. How about this? Say Mark Ingram gets phased out of the league, which I believe you agree should be coming. He lands, listen to this, he lands on the Toronto Argonauts. Are you the world's biggest fan of Mark Ingram, CFL player?
I mean, that would take me seeing a second of the CFL, which I don't. So actually, I tuned into some Johnny Manziel because I love Johnny. But no, he can go to the CFL all he wants. I don't want to see him around town. He already snubbed me at the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. Sounds like you guys have a long way to go until you mend your fractured relationship. Jason, thank you for that question. Guys, if you have questions for Patty Mayos, I will pass them along as we keep going. Let's get to one of the premier infamous segments on this show. Favorite sneaky shootout game. Everyone knows about the Rams and Saints. People are even on the Bucks and Panthers. Do you have a sneaky game for us?
Yeah, Denver, Houston. I already bet the over in the game, so I might as well go in DFS-wise too. So, Detroit, Minnesota is a good one, and Denver and Houston is really good. Denver and Houston are both top 10 in the league in terms of pace of play. They both have horrible offensive lines, big D lines coming. So you're looking at defenses that are going to generate pressure, generate sacks, probably turnovers, create short fields. That just leads to a ton of scoring. And they're running so many plays that just through volume alone that they're going to be good. If you talked about it, you use Sutton. Everyone's using Sutton. Use the other pieces in this game too. Use Hopkins, or if you don't want to use Hopkins, use Lamar Miller on one side. Do that Keenum stack, or use Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins. Boom, bring it back with Cortland Sutton. That kind of thing. Differentiate yourself a little bit, and that's a good game to do it in.
Yeah, no, and Lamar is a great call. I feel like everyone dislikes Lamar. He's coming off of 2 great games, though, and now is in another plus matchup. The way you beat the Broncos is on the ground. Lamar Miller, he could be in for a big week.
But yeah, he's just tough to use. If you want to use the other Texans along with him, he's tough. So you probably use the defense, Texans D, and Lamar Miller, just because he doesn't get involved in the passing game is the one problem. So if I want to isolate and you want to win the million, you need to leave pieces off. Lamar Miller can have a good game and Watson and Hopkins can have a good game too. But if you need Walken and Hopkins and Kiki or Demaryius Thomas, whoever it might be, to go off and win $1 million, Lamar Miller can't be doing anything.
That's right. You mentioned Demaryius Thomas. We all love our revenge games. Have we ever seen a revenge game this quick? This is as quick of a revenge game as you could imagine.
Week of revenge. Yeah. I think DT's washed. So no, stay away from him.
So legitimate question. No one's talking about this, Pat. Does Demaryius Thomas sleep at his own home in Denver, or is he staying with the team at the hotel?
I don't know. I'd want to stay at home.
That's what I'm thinking. But then it's hey, is this new wide receiver? He's not trying to integrate himself into the team. I think it's a question that people should be asking.
I guess it depends on what Bill O'Brien tells him to do, but I don't think Bill O'Brien tells anyone to do anything. He seems to be just a corpse.
This is very true. It's very true. Yeah, Bill O'Brien kind of flies under the radar of being a subpar coach because there's so many coaches worse than him, but he needs to go.
I don't know if there are many coaches. Now that Hugh's gone, he's the leading contender to be the absolute nut low.
That's true. That's true. He had the Mike McCoy, the Hugh Jackson. It's when you're speeding in your car, but there's the red Corvette going 5 miles faster than you. It's just like a shield. That's what Bill O'Brien has had with Hugh Jackson and Mike McCoy's. But you're saying that shield is gone, and now they're going to pull you over in your Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've already pulled over the red Corvette. He's already got 2 tickets, and I can't draft him anymore. Then that's Bill O'Brien right now. Who else? Who is the other coach that is crappy as Bill O'Brien?
Jason Garrett, yeah, this will be the true test, right? Because he could not figure out how to utilize Des Bryant. All he knows how to do is give Zeke the ball 30 times a game. Now he has Amari Cooper coming in. We can argue till the cows come home of whether he's a quote-unquote elite talent. But do we think Jason Garrett can scheme the ball to Amari Cooper?
No. Does anyone? Does Amari Cooper think that? Unless those plays he brought in that they asked him about are just throw it deep to Amari Cooper, then no.
Yeah, and I don't think Amari Cooper is all of a sudden, going on a rocket ship in the Cowboys offense, but you got to think he was laughing somewhere about that game last night.
He should be. Everyone should be laughing at the Raiders. I mean, I guess the Raiders are doing the right thing. I think. I don't know if they're trying to be this awful, but it's working.
I don't know about you, but did you wake up this morning realizing we now live in a post-Nick Mullins world? I mean, people are walking around with a pep in their step. People feel alive again. Do you have Nick Mullins fever?
Hey, who doesn't have Nick Mullins fever? He's fantastic. Maybe the best of all time.
It's incredible. It's incredible to see that. People are talking about, could they potentially trade him? Could they get a first-round pick, a second-round pick? I think they trade him to the Pats, and then they groom Tom Brady behind Nick Mullins for kind of his late career push. See,
that's the move. Or you go to first-hand experience. I mean, Gruden has all these firsts. Get 3 first-round picks for Nick Mullins. Go to the Raiders.
There you go. There you go. John Gruden would not pass that. Oh, we just forgot the most obvious coach on the hot seat, right? I mean, John Gruden has to be the first
coach. He's going to get like a new 15-year extension next week.
It is, they deserve each other. The Raiders and Gruden deserve each other. I saw people circulating around the article last night where he had said in the offseason that if he doesn't turn this around, that he'll give the money back. Pat, what are the odds of him giving that $100 million back?
Yeah, I'm going to set that at 0%.
Yeah, no takebacks on $100 million. Jason in the chat wants to know, favorite cheap defense this week on DK? We don't talk about defenses too much, but I like this question.
That's the only thing that I'm any good at is picking out crappy defenses that you can use. I actually like the Lions. The Lions might get lit up on the scoreboard, but best pass rush in the league. Kirk Cousins, all he does is take sacks, make stupid throws. They're $2,100. I'm in on that. Houston, also pretty good. Denver, pretty good. Like, there are decent enough defenses this week that if you go scum, the Bills D is not terrible.
Yeah, no, I like that call on the Lions. It seems like if I'm just feeling the vibes, the reports, I don't know if Stephon Diggs is going to play this week. I mean, he has the bye next week. He's dealing with this ribs injury. If he sits out, that offense is a whole lot less dynamic, especially Cooks out. You're looking at just Thielen and Latavius Murray and Kyle Rudolph. The Lions could definitely wreak some havoc there.
Oh, and you forget about Lord Aldrich in that conversation. You're going to be taking 10 deep shots a game with him. He'll drop like 8 of them, but he might convert.
Forgive me, my Lord Aldrich, for I have forsaken you by not mentioning your name. Thank you for that question here. All right. Favorite lock button play. We've talked about some of the industry's lock button plays. What is Patty Mayo's? He goes to open that fresh slate on DraftKings. He starts scrolling through the flex players, and he jams that first player in. Who's that for you?
I like Hopkins. No one's really using him. Melvin Gordon, I can be talked into too if he plays because no one's going to use him either. But you just look at talent situation. I know you can run all over Denver, but now you're concentrating the market share for Hopkins. We've seen this happen in the past. Then all of a sudden he has 20 targets per game, and Deshaun Watson's still playing. So I don't see why you wouldn't lock him in. I get that he's pricey, but you got to pay up for someone, and not everyone is paying up for Gurley. You want to pay up for Gurley? Go nuts. If you can find a way to use them both, do that, because there are cheap guys you can use. We went over like 9 of them already below $4,500. But lock in DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to light up Denver.
What if I set his ownership percentage in the Millie Maker at 8%? Are you taking the over or under? Under. Okay. All right, there you have it. Incredible play. You're getting the best wide receiver in football. Sorry, no disrespects, Adam Thielen's in a good matchup. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is coming off of 3 tough matchups against shutdown corners, Xavier Howard, Tre'Davious White. I'm forgetting another one. He had a touchdown in every one of those games. Now he gets an average matchup. There's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. I love the Nuke call. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and like I said, I like this game to go over anyway, so I want the best piece of the over.
That's right. And you did mention Melvin Gordon. Again, I completely agree. If he goes, I'm worried about him not going. If he doesn't, what kind of ownership and what could we expect from Austin Eckler, who's been incredibly efficient in this offense?
It depends on when we find out about Melvin Gordon. If we don't find out later on today at Chargers practice, like if he sits on a Friday, he's not playing. So if this comes down to a game time decision, We're also not going to know when inactives get released at 11:30. That's going to be the late inactive. So everyone's going to have to late swap onto Austin Eckler if that's the case. And people are idiots, so they don't do that. And he just won't be owned.
That's it. Yeah, I hadn't thought this through yet, but now where you're talking to me, I wonder if you could do something like this, where you save your flex for either Gurley or Melvin Gordon, and if Gordon scratches, you plug in Eckler and you upgrade your lineup elsewhere. Maybe you're able to get in Michael Thomas, Brandon Cooks, whoever at those spots. I don't know. It might be smart if you're like you're saying, if that news breaks late, to give yourself some ways to get to Eckler.
Or what you can do, if you want to get super creative about it, is instead of using Gordon, have that Eckler spot open, and then you just look at the late slate of games. What do we got coming here? We got Houston, Denver. You got LA, Seattle, you got LA, New Orleans. Like, you throw Traquan into your flex. I like playing Traquan, but if you have Eckler all by himself, Eckler's probably the better play. So if you just slot him into your flex, you can easily make that switch over.
Yeah, that's the better way. I was trying to do it too convoluted. So yeah, if you leave yourself $100 salary, Traquan in the flex, probably going to be pretty chalky. If that news breaks, you get Eckler in there, more touches. Better play at that point. I like that.
Or if you can do this too. If you're having a great early slate and you have Cortland Sutton, chuck him into the flex, leave like 400 on the table. Or if you're behind, knowing that no one's going to make this swap out Sutton onto Eckler, and boom. If Sutton has a bad game, Eckler has a good game, you boost your way up the standings.
Yeah, that's very sharp. And I mean, you would want to think like, oh, Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, like everyone's going to play him. But man, when that news breaks late, I mean, you tell me, but it doesn't seem like all the sharps will do it. But the general masses are too lazy to late swap. They're too late. They just want to set it and forget it. Am I right?
Most people don't even know you can late swap. So think about that.
Okay, that answers my question for sure. Okay, we got Jay in the chat. He says he wants to know who to pair with mega cheap Phil Rivers and who to run it back with on Seattle.
I have no idea. This game I find very confusing. So you probably go with Tyrell Williams, because if he scores a touchdown, it's going to be a 70-yard touchdown. Do you try to capitalize on that? Like, the problem with this game is it depends on how you think it breaks down. If you think it's close, or Seattle gets out to an early lead, or Seattle wins, they're going to run so much, there's going to be no plays run in this game. So that's a problem. If Seattle gets up, or if San Diego, if LA gets up and you have Rivers, and that's what you would want, obviously, if you're using a super cheap Phillip Rivers, you pair him with the deep threat guy, boom, that's your stack, and bring it back, probably lock it, because then all of a sudden Seattle has to pass. And you're going to see more than 17 passing attempts from Russell Wilson, more than 20. So lock it. You could go back to Baldwin again if you want. If you want cheap, you go David Moore. That's a real crapshoot, though.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, Russ Wilson has been super efficient, but his pass volume is so low, and it's really hard to know which of these guys. I mean, Ed Dixon got in the end zone last week, so it's like I don't know who to go with there. I think I do like the Tyler Lockett call. Baldwin seems hard to trust right now. David Moore seems like a little point touchdown chasey to me. And one other guy, he's kind of felt like a forgotten man, and he is more expensive, but Keenan Allen, he's been a trendy redraft buy low. Everyone thinks he's going to turn it around. He might be the guy you look to there, but there's just so many other good options in that range.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I've been scouting Keenan Allen big time for like what's going to come down this week. But like when you look at the top of the board, you got Keenan Allen. He's that expensive. I don't have to pay up that much more for Julio or DeAndre. Like I like Keenan Allen. I like those guys way more.
Yeah. I'm going to pass along this question from the chat. I believe you are what the kids would call being trolled, Pat. But Jacob Patterson says, what do you think about Kamara and Ingram in the same lineup? Jacob, are you hearing that deafening silence? Producer, can you put in the crickets? There you have it, Jacob. All right. We are going to move on to our favorite Stone Minish punt play. I mean, we've talked about some of the 4,200 guys, but I'm talking dirty. I'm talking Kyle Juszczyk level dirty. Do you have any deep punts?
Of course. I mean, there's a reason I lose money every week. I play losers like this. Fire up. I keep calling him Kramer, but it's Michael Roberts, not Michael Richards. 2,500. They just got rid of Golden Tate. People are like, oh, man, Luke Wilson or Brandon Powell is going to see everything. Michael Roberts is actually catching touchdowns right now. And that was with Golden Tate on the field. Minnesota sucks against tight ends. So for the league, man, like I like Chris Herndon more. Chris Herndon's super cheap too, $3,000, but you need that extra 5,000 or 500 in savings. Michael Roberts is the play.
I like it too because it seemed so. This is, I mean, everyone knows this year is super gross at tight end. This slate in particular is gross. I think a lot of people are going to want to pay up for Kelsey, but we can afford to really punt at tight end and it not kill us. I mean, we saw people last week winning money with a 0 from Njoku, with a 0 from Uzomah. I mean, why not punt? Why not go to the bottom with a guy like that you just said and not deal with paying up at tight end? I like it.
Yeah, and if you want to pay up for tight end and you want to pay up for Kelsey, just use one of these shitty tight ends and use Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We got a question in the chat. This is on theme for punt plays. Hump wants to know, are we locking in Nate Peterman with Zay Jones as the play in the Millie Maker?
Oh, of course. You got to lock in Peterman, Zay Jones. Who else? We can get Ray McLeod. Throw him in there too. You're fine. That's a winner.
Okay, Nathan Peterman, Millie Maker ownership. I set the line at 0.5%.
Under.
There you have it, Kelly. You just found your super, super hyper contrarian play to win you $1 million.
Listen, if Buffalo was a more affluent city, that number would be over, but it's not.
Oh, funny. I'm sure you're familiar. Josh Hermsmeyer does the air yards. This week, he redacted Kelvin Benjamin from the model. The model keeps putting Kelvin Benjamin in, but no one can ever stomach playing Kelvin Benjamin, even though the model is saying, hey, based on this volume, he should be producing. Is that how bad these Bills are that they're getting redacted from, bias agnostic machine learning algorithms?
Even on bye weeks, the moment Kelvin Benjamin was traded to the Bills, he was only ranked in one spot in my rankings. Worst place.
Worst. Yeah, he's so just like one, like who's ahead, Ingram or Kelvin? Like Desert Island, you have to play one of them to.
Oh, I'll play Kelvin. I mean,
okay.
I need him on that island with me in case I have to cut him open to live inside if it gets too cold. It's not a desert island. It's like an Arctic island or something.
That's right. That's right. Well, now is the time in the show, Pat, where I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I challenge my guests each week to the infamous 69 challenge. Are you familiar?
I am.
Okay. And you're clearly familiar with the DraftKings platform. Are you familiar with the stakes of this wager?
No. What are we doing this week?
Okay. Well, this is what we do. All right. So we play a head-to-head. I'll send over the challenge. And I'm going to toss out my 3 worst scores, which means at best I can only play 6 of my guys. My 6 top scores versus your 9. You can build your lineup however you see fit. However, if I were to beat you with my hand tied behind my proverbial back, and I have done it once this season against your friend, your peer, your cohort, Davis Maddox. I beat him in the 69 challenge, and he had to go on a show and call me the greatest DFS player of our generation. However, if he were to win or you were to win, I would go on Twitter. I would promote your stuff. And, of course, congratulate you on your big 69 challenge victory. Do you accept those terms?
I do accept the terms, but I got some strategy questions for you for what you're doing.
Do it.
How do you build your lineups every week?
Okay, I'll be completely honest with you. I build a tournament team is what I do. I generally have a game stack in there. The haters have told me that I should just do 3 punt plays a la if you're See, I disagree, though. The Manz has his own thing. What happens is if I whiff on any of those, let's say the Gurley or the Thielen or the top price, my lineup is sunk. I'm better off getting a tournament correlation in that whole core popping off to win than all these individual nut spots. That's what the Manz thinks. I could be wrong. That's what the Manz thinks.
Maybe you allocate 2 and you do it in the smart way. So instead of taking stupid punts at running back or stupid punts at receiver, pay down at defense for the cheapest one, use the Lions, and then use the $2,500 tight end or the $2,800 tight end and just punt that way. And then you can still have balance with your 7 other spots. And maybe one of those guys hits and you can cross off oh no, Austin Eckler had a bad game. Traquan had a bad game. No big deal.
It's the other problem with this strategy is normally if I'm trying to get in those, say, just super safe, high upside studs, my opponent has them too, because my opponent is theoretically building a cash game type lineup to have a high floor to beat me. So if the guys I'm jamming in are, say, Nuke and Gurley, and then I look at your lineup and you have Nuke and Gurley, I'm not giving myself a place to really lap you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to worry about me. I'm not constructing any cash game lineup. The guy play cash game lineups is laughable.
Dude, I see you and me are on the same way. There's so many, this cash game grinding stuff, it's not for me. It's $1 million or bust though.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if I wanted to put in 5K every week, grind out head-to-heads, grind out cash games, I have a job. I do this. I talk for a living. I don't have time to spend 40 hours building lineups.
That's you and me, dude. It's just two guys in shades because the sun never sets on crushing with a bunch of dolls and fat heads behind us. You and me, Patty Mayos, we're simpatico.
I like it.
Excellent, dude. Well, if you guys have any more questions in the chat, I'll pass it along. Otherwise, Pat, so this is, man, I know you're high up the ranks at DraftKings. I know you're, a freelancer or whatever contract, but I'm telling you, dude, DraftKings is killing me, man. They won't let me change my username, first of all. And then this week, dude, I went to create the Manz GPP. It's a weekly 40 to 45 person contest. But, it's beloved by everyone in the industry. A lot of community members. Adam Levitans is in the mix. I accidentally, Pat, I made it a double up on accident.
And you can't change it.
I can't change it. And I tagged DK Assist. I tagged DraftKings. This is where it gets worse, though, Pat. So I tried to withdraw myself from it to see if I could delete it. This is before I realized I couldn't. In the meantime, I forgot to re-register in my own tournament filled without me.
That happened to me once. I used to run a golf one every week. Same thing. I did the exact same scenario. I made a double up. Cancel. I tried to cancel it, couldn't, had to start a new one, and then explain to people that you want to join this one and not that one, and then people get all confused because, I mean, people in general just they're not savvy with this stuff.
I know. I mean,
it's tough.
It's but DraftKings, you got to let me cancel my own contest. But this is what I said. I said, Pat, when life gives you lemons, you squeeze those lemons, and what I'm doing, I'm keeping it a double up that I'm not participating in. And I am making it a double up within a double up because the top 5 people, Pat, are going to get. Are you familiar with my groundbreaking physical crypto invention, Manz coin?
I am very familiar with the Manz coin. I can't believe I didn't get one.
Dude, that's what we're going to do. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have I'm going to send you one regardless, but we're going to have a Jordan Howard, Isaiah Crowell bet. And how about if the loser has to send a trinket or a piece of revolutionary currency to the other? How does that sound?
Deal. Those are stakes I can get behind.
Those are stakes, yes. But anyways, I was going to say, within the double up, obviously it's $10, the top, whatever, double up. But the top 5 in the contest will get a Manz coin lit on the house. So there's the added incentive. The contest is already full. I can't even get in it. So, but Patty Mayo.
The Manz coin will go on behind me on the set.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're going to have to get one. I mean, that's just good viral marketing right there. I mean, how many shows a week do you do with that backdrop?
Not like 17.
That's right, dude. I mean, sales are going to go through the roof once we get that integrated product placement in the PME experience. All right, Pat, where can people find you? Obviously at the PME on Twitter, the Pat Mayo Experience. You're on DraftKings. You're all over the place. I mean, if people throw a rock at the ground, they can't miss.
Yeah, I mean, if they walk outside of their building, I'm probably out there yelling. I could be in 3 places at once. This is just a projection. I astral project all across the globe, so it's easy to find me. But yeah, Twitter, PME, Facebook, PME, the PME, I should say, not just PME, the PME, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the PME. Search Pat Mayo Experience, YouTube, anywhere you download podcast, you can find me there. But if you just subscribe to Twitter, it's not like I don't beat people over the head with a giant mallet with where to click on everything. I must be the worst follow in the world.
Hey, what we're going to do, guys, we're giving Pat Mayo's the Manz bump. We're going to get this dude the 10 million downloads by the end of the year. I want everybody to load up the Pat Mayo Experience into playlists. I want you to download like 100 episodes. I want you to press them. I want you to listen to them. I want you to have them running on loop while you're doing chores. Let's get this man to 10 million downloads.
Yeah, you don't even have to listen. I don't give a shit. Just download it.
Exactly, dude. We just want the downloads. We just want the clicks. We want the views. An inside look into the minds of YouTube content creators. All right. Pat Mayos, thank you so much for coming on the program. I'm going to send you over the 69 challenge. We got our Crowell Howard bet, the dirtiest bet. of all time. Thank you, my man, so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, for Pat Mayo, for Pete Manzanelli, for Jordan Howard, for Isaiah Crowells, get paid, get laid.